Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 284 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan just walked towards the last ball of light when a strange scene suddenly happened. Which was originally bleak and dull, was as spiritual as a human being. Xiao Yan just approached a distance of tens of meters, and suddenly moved abruptly, as if a naughty child was constantly playing a game of hide-and-seek with Xiao Yan. The sudden action made Xiao Yang a little surprised. Obviously, he had never heard of the heavenly seed and the wisdom, and the light group in front of him was also very mysterious. Heavenly seed and different fire sacred flame are both wonders of heaven and earth. When you are on the Dochi continent, the powerful different fire has spiritual wisdom, so this heavenly seed is also the same as the different fire. The Lord of Soul Eater explained Road. So, you really found a treasure. Xiao Yang's eyes became deep, and an unstoppable fiery surge emerged. Just from the fluctuations emanating from this dim light, this dim sky seed is the strongest among the 3 heavenly seeds, and the other 2 heavenly seeds are already among the small heavenly seeds. This heavenly seed. Shouldn't it be the great heavenly seed? And if it is really a big heavenly seed, I am afraid that it will be a huge help to Xiao Yang's own increase. Wang buzzing. The dim light group moved rapidly, constantly evading Xiao Yang's pursuit in the void, and letting Xiao Yang chase was unmoved. I still don't believe I can't take care of you. Soul power. Xiao Yang was also devastated by this bleak light, and immediately said angrily. No matter how agile the dull light group was, after Xiao Yang stimulated the power of his soul, the void around his body seemed to freeze, making him unable to move at all. Crash. The dim light group also seemed to have noticed that Xiao Yang was not simple, and the fiery red flames continued to spread out, trying to stop Xiao Yang's pace. But Xiao Yang, who possessed holy flame, this kind of flame was nothing short of excessive. Every family is generally irrelevant, so it did not stop Xiao Yang for any time. Let's see where you're going now. Seeing the dim light with nowhere to escape, Xiao Yang walked over step by step. Being so restrained by Xiao Yang, the dim light group didn't seem convinced. There was still a trace of flame power that kept permeating, trying to break free. Unfortunately, the power of the heavenly seed was perfectly isolated by the milky white prohibition, so it was just useless work. Crash. Just when he arrived next to the dim light group, Xiao Yang's dazzling soul force set up 10 soul cages in a row to prevent this heavenly seed from doing any more strange actions, so he was satisfied to dissipate its milky white prohibition. Boom. The milky white prohibition just disappeared, and a deafening sound accompanied by a burst of fiery red energy ripples suddenly appeared in this void. Great heavenly seed, Fei Yan. 5 prominent words suddenly appeared on the crystal cage. The fiery red energy ripples were completely wrapped in the crystal cage. Obviously, except for the milky white imprisonment, every heavenly seed was set up with 2 protections. What a tyrannical heavenly seed. Even with the isolation of the crystal cage and the increase of the holy flame in the body, when facing the heavenly seed, an extremely tyrannical oppression struck, which actually made Xiao Yang feel a sense of relief. Heart-pounding fluctuations slowly came out of it. The list of heavenly species is divided into large heavenly species and small heavenly species. The small heavenly seed can increase the cultivator's own attributes and strengthen it twice, while the big heavenly seed is abruptly doubled its own attribute. For practitioners with normal fire attributes, the energy of fire attribute fighting chi is equal to 1, and the power of the strong with the small heavenly seed becomes 2. And the existence of holy flame in Xiao Yang's body, the speed is doubled, it is a full 8 times. The power of flame is 8 times stronger than that of normal practitioners, let alone normal human beings. I am afraid that some supreme beings have never possessed it. The name of Emperor Yang is also at home. Crash. Seemingly aware of Xiao Yang's intentions, the fiery red crimson flame squirmed rapidly. In a short time, the crystal cage was shaken apart, and he was about to escape. After all, the human body in front of him, there seemed to be something tyrannical, which made Fei Yang extremely uneasy. Gaze eyes. Fire. Xiao Yang naturally wouldn't let such a good opportunity go. The dazzling soul attack and the fire-type fighting core in his body kept squirming, and the huge fighting chi and soul power burst out in an instant, and immediately surrounded the red flames slowly. Even though Fei Yang was a great celestial seed, in the face of such a perverted Xiao Yang, she was subdued by him in a short while. It's really a good seed. Looking at the fiery red flames surrounding Xiao Yang, the Soul Eater immediately laughed. With the great celestial seed of Fei Yan, and with the addition of holy flame, I am afraid that at this time, I will be able to completely leapfrog the battle. Xiao Yang's body was surrounded by Fei Yan, and the dazzling fluctuations continued to spread, like a fireman in general. Under the blessing of Heavenly Seed and Holy Flame, 8 times the power of flame, but very few people can stop it, or even fight head-on. After all, the lethality of fire attribute is one of the best among many attributes. The power of Fei Yan can completely turn a radius of 100 meters into nothingness. Its power, called the Sea of Scarlet Flames, is a special space based on its own flame power. Once it is used, I am afraid that no one at the same level can match it. It can even be used for group attacks or even to block the enemy, not bad. Xiao Yang felt the dazzling energy fluctuations on Fei Yang's body, and said with satisfaction, "The next step is to absorb. The existence of the great heavenly seed is somewhat similar to your devouring the holy flame of different fire." The Soul Eater analyzed. En. Xiao Yang nodded lightly, and then without hesitation, Fen Zhu in his body started to run at a high speed, and a trace of special fighting spirit catalyzed by Fen Zhu emerged, instantly extinguishing a lot of the terrifying flames on Fei Yang's body. Fire! A dazzling voice resounded throughout the space, and Xiao Yang's originally violent crimson flames became quiet, because at the same time, within Xiao Yang's body, the khaki-colored fire heart skyrock, but also slowly climbed out. Although the power of the great celestial seed is strong, it is undoubtedly a lot worse than the holy flame, which is why this funny scene appears. Swallow it for me. Seeing this, Xiao Yang smiled slightly. He originally thought that swallowing the great heavenly seed would be a little troublesome, but where did he know that the appearance of the holy flame made the great heavenly seed quiet, so swallowing became an extremely easy process. With the passage of time, Xiao Yang also continued to absorb Fei Yang's power. After absorbing Fei Yang completely, his own flame power would definitely be at a higher level. However, the Master of Soul Eater also said that Xiao Yang devoured too much holy flame, causing his body to become resistant to the power of flames, so even if he devoured the great heavenly seed, it was impossible to change his strength. Therefore, Xiao Yang, you can only be honest. After all, if you want to increase your strength by swallowing flames, only holy flame can do it. At the same time, in the Dodi continent, thousands of miles away, some unknown things were happening. Disclaimer: this chapter is based on the timeline of Zana leaving the ancient clan to find Xiao Yang, which is different from the current timeline in the ghost world. Far away, there is a piece of land called Dodi continent. The Dodi continent is an extremely fertile land in the human world, but compared with the ghost world, it is undoubtedly much weaker. The Dodi continent was divided into 4 continents according to the overall area. The northern part of Dodi continent, called Qianxing continent, is where the immortal Saint Flame, which is related to the immortal golden body in Xiao Yang's body, stands. The southern part of Dodi continent, called Haohai continent, is a special country floating on the water, but its strength is surprisingly tyrannical. The western part of Dodi continent, called Xianling continent, was where Xiao Yang first came to Dodi continent. Xian Tiantian and Kailin lived here. The eastern part of Dodi continent is the core of the entire Dodi Sifang continent, Doyun continent. The Doyun continent is full of geniuses, and it is where the real powerhouses of the Dodi Sifang continent gather. Even the 8 ancient races, the Holy Sea and many other powers live here. At this time, on Doyun continent, quite strange things were happening. Miss Zana. Our figure seems to have been discovered. The 2 Chenying moved quickly in a forest. Looking at their appearance, they seemed to be avoiding something, but after a while, one of the women said, "Since we left the ancient clan, we have vaguely found that someone is following us, but we have never been able to confirm the whereabouts. Sister Jiu Qing. Are these guys the enemy?" When Chenying heard this, her eyes were slightly wrinkled, obviously a little angry. The 3,000 blue silks of this beautiful figure fell down, and the flawless white face was like a fairy who does not eat the fireworks of the world. And this beautiful figure is not the Zana that Xiao Yang was thinking about. Who else could it be? It should be a guy from the Holy Sea. After a while, Jiu Qing said in a deep voice, but his voice was full of helplessness. Although his strength is tyrannical, it is only at the level of the 9-star Dodi, and the powerhouses of the Dozian level are restricted because of the 7 major forces in the ancient clan fighting openly and secretly, but the opponents dispatched by the Holy Sea will only be stronger than themselves. Miss Zana, if there is a problem in a while, you can go first. Jiu Qingdai moved slightly, and then thought that the Golden Emperor's burning flame on Zana's body is the key to opening the ancient family's inheritance of holy flame, so no matter what, Jiu Qing will not let Zana suffer any harm. Damn! Zana heard that, a rare killing intent emerged in her heart. It was obvious that Zana had always been obedient in the ancient clan, but it was all to prove her efforts with her master peerless Heavenly Emperor. Now that his goal has been achieved, the peerless Heavenly Emperor also gave himself a short vacation and agreed to find brother Xiao Yang, but he was secretly blocked by the Holy See, and immediately burst out in anger. If they really made a mistake about me, they will regret it in the future. Even if there is an angel family behind them. Suddenly, a golden flame suddenly appeared in Zana's eyes, but when the golden flame emerged, even the whole body collapsed. Obviously, the flame at this time has already it is no longer the power of the strange fire on the Dochi continent, as if some mysterious power is mixed in it. This level of flame is definitely not comparable to the different fire. Hurry up. Be careful. At this time, outside the forest, one after another, dressed in black clothes, the stern figures that covered themselves kept emerging, completely encircling the entire forest. Xingyi cultivator, we have completely surrounded the entire forest according to your instructions. The two women inside are difficult to fly even with their wings attached. A man in white came towards him, with a serious tone, slowly open your mouth. Cultivator in white, I've worked hard for you. After this incident, I won't be able to treat you badly. The man in blue smiled slowly and spoke to the man in white in front of him. From the few people headed by these guys, it is not difficult to see that they are members of the Holy See. The clothes of the Holy See and horses are uniform throughout the Dodi continent, and their internal rank is very obvious. The most humble believers go to the further monks, and the monks are divided into 3 levels: blue, white, and black. The dozens of black-clothed cultivators in front of them ranged in strength from the 7-star to 8-star Dodi, but the white-clothed cultivator's strength was abruptly reaching the 9-star Dodi, and even the strongest blue-clothed cultivator, whose strength was a fusion of life and death, reached the rare level of half-immortal. With such a terrifying lineup, I am afraid that in the face of Zana, who is only 5-star Do Emperor, and Jiu Yuan, who is only 9-star Do Emperor, it is clear at a glance who wins and who loses. The people inside are listening. According to the boy we got, we suspect that you hold treasures of our Holy See, so I want to invite you to go to the Holy See to find out, so please put down your weapons and cast, don't make indifferent struggles. Otherwise, I will punish you on behalf of the Holy See. Suddenly, the figure of the man in Xingyi slowly lifted into the air, and then suddenly shouted angrily at the forest. Wang buzzing. The loud voice suddenly wrapped the entire forest, and it also entered the ears of Zana and Jiu Yuan. Qing. Xingyi monk. Jiu Yuan's beautiful eyes stared at the smiling man above the sky, but Dai's eyes shrank suddenly, and then her heart beat suddenly, and a touch of chill emerged in her heart. Sister Jiu Yuan, this is this. Zana heard the majestic voice, and the aura in the body suddenly became disordered, and bursts of horror emerged, but fortunately there was the extremely mysterious Golden Emperor Fen Tianyang, so it was also easily blocked. Sorry, Miss Zana, given the current situation, I'm afraid this time, you can't leave Doyun continent to find your lover. Jiu Yuan's beautiful eyes became serious at the same time. As a strong native of the ancient clan, Jiu Yuan naturally has a very clear division of the power of the Holy See, and today's Jiu Yuan, whose strength is already a 9-star Do Emperor, has stepped into the rank 9, even so, it is from this Xingyi cultivator. On his body, he felt a great aura, which was enough to see that this guy's strength was stronger than his own, not to mention his accomplices. Never mind. But these guys, I will remember them. When I'm strong enough in the future. These guys who blocked me from finding brother Xiao Yang, can only apologize with death. After a while, Zana also slowly shook his head. Obviously now the enemy is outnumbered, and if we fight recklessly, we will be injured. It will only be themselves, and suddenly the indifference that reigns over the world like a queen suddenly emanates from the corner of Zana's mouth. If that's the case, then Sister Jiu Yuan, let's go back. After I go back, send me to the Holy Land. Looking at the man in Xingyi who exuded a tyrannical aura in the sky, Zana smiled sweetly, as if in his mind, a man with a heavy ruler on his back slowly emerged. Have you decided? Jiu Yuan heard the words and was suddenly surprised. The ancient sacred place is said to be the resting place of the ancient powerhouses of all dynasties, and it is also the storage place of their ancient sacred flames, but there is no holy flame. Perception, no one has entered into it for thousands of years. In addition to the recent disappearance of the patriarch of the ancient clan and some elders in the clan, people in the ancient clan were panicked. At that time, peerless Heavenly Emperor defied the public opinion and prepared to close his disciple. Zana was sent into it, but was rejected by Zana. Obviously, there was something in the ancient Holy Land that made Zana disgusted. If that's the case, then go back. When you completely control the things in the Holy Land, let alone the powerhouses of the 7 immortal peaks in the clan will not stop you, then you will be the new generation of saints of our ancient clan. Even if the Holy See wants to move you, it has to be weighed too. Jiu Yuan was quite happy when he finished speaking, when a silver scroll in his hand was quietly crushed, and then the figures of the 2 women suddenly became illusory. See you next time. You and the so-called Son of Light in the Holy See are not so lucky. The silver scroll appeared in the sky above the forest, and a space channel emerged. Suddenly, the figures of Zana and Jiu Yuan slowly merged into it. It's just that when Zana finally disappeared, the Xingyi cultivator's face and even his breath were all seen by Zana. In an instant, a word with shocking killing intent, like thunder and violence, suddenly resounded in front of the Xingyi cultivator. Rise, bastard! Seeing the 2 shadows in front of him disappear directly with the help of the space formation, the monk in Xingyi who stood in the sky suddenly cursed secretly, his voice full of fear. Although this Zana is currently mediocre in strength, a superpower of their level has a background that is enough to turn a sparrow into a phoenix, not to mention that this Zana is still the most authoritative one among the ancient clan. Damn Son of Light! If the bishop knows about this, I'm afraid that my identity may not be guaranteed. Seeing the 2 girls who disappeared in an instant, the Xingyi cultivator wanted to cry without tears. The space scroll used by the 2 girls, at a glance, knew that it was the handwriting of a fighting immortal powerhouse. Sir, how are you doing now? Asked the black monks and white monks below. For this action, they all obeyed the Xingyi cultivator and knew nothing about the content of the action. Forget it, let's go back first. Instantly, the cultivator in Xingyi also slowly shook his head. Wang buzzing. When everyone heard the words, they immediately withdrew the encirclement, left here, and headed towards the Holy See headquarters. Doyun Continent, the headquarters of the Holy See. This is an extremely top-notch mountain range. At the top of the mountain, a beam of light that reaches the sky is reflected in the clouds. The beam is full of a strong light attribute aura. No evil thing can get close to it, and here is the headquarters of the Holy See. A dark place under the mountains. Why haven't there been any news yet? It's been so long. At this time, a man in red was walking back and forth in a hurry. This man is now the Son of Light of the Holy See. At a young age, the light attribute in his body has reached the most powerful one in the Holy See for countless years. He is a well-deserved Son of Light. However, everyone only knows that this man is the Son of Light, but few people know that the man's real name is Liu Weiyang. My lord, the matter failed. After a while, the space behind the tree wriggled slightly, and the figure of the blue-clothed cultivator suddenly appeared. He just appeared, and suddenly said with a hint of apology. What? Failed? You are a dignified half-immortal strong, can you let their 2 weak women escape from your hands? The Son of Light heard that, anger surged, and he snorted directly. My lord, to be honest, although these 2 women are weak, they have the space scrolls of fighting immortals on their bodies, so they easily escaped our roundup. The Xingyi cultivator hurriedly explained. The Xingyi cultivator's identity is not low, but in the eyes of the Holy See senior management, it is no different from an errand, not to mention that in the eyes of the Son of Light, his own life and death are just a matter of his eyes. What a waste. The Son of Light glanced at the Xingyi cultivator with great disgust, and then kicked it with an extremely terrifying energy fluctuation. Hey, my lord. In order to save his life, the Xingyi cultivator had no choice but to accompany him with a smile. Go away. The Son of Light sneered. Wang buzzing. As soon as the Son of Light's voice fell, the Xingyi cultivator left here cautiously. Xiao Zana. Since my Son of Light was born, there has never been anything that I can't get. Wait, sooner or later, I will make you surrender to me completely. As the Child of Light spoke, a milky white light appeared between the eyebrows, and the milky white light was as pure and flawless as the birth of a baby. Ancient. Crash. The space channel flashed. It appeared in the middle of an extremely vast grassy field. Zana, Xiaoqing. On the grass at this moment, a lazy old man spoke slowly, his voice filled with an incredible look. Master, I want to enter the Holy Land. Zana poured out directly from the space channel, and then said to the old man with a firm expression. No, the Holy Land is too dangerous and not suitable for you. Peerless Heavenly Emperor heard and shook his head in rejection. Master. Looking at Peerless Heavenly Emperor's direct rejection, in Zana's beautiful eyes, golden flames slowly emerged, and the moment the flames emerged, it turned this space into agitation. Obviously, there seemed to be something strange in Zana's body. General strength. But, that's all. Peerless Heavenly Emperor seemed to want to say something, but looking at the firm look in Zana's eyes, he shook his head. Thank you, Master. Hearing the Peerless Heavenly Emperor agree, Zana's stubborn expression was slightly relieved, and his eyebrows relaxed. Let's go down to rest today, and then enter tomorrow? After thinking for a while, Peerless Heavenly Emperor looked at Zana, as if asking for her opinion. Forget it, it's better to choose a day than to hit the sun, let's do it now. Zana shook her head slightly. Obviously the plan to find Xiao Yang was shelved, and it was of no use to the ancients. It would be better to enter the Holy Land as soon as possible. Under control, this ancient clan will follow their own lead, and it will be much easier when they want to find Xiao Yang. Peerless Heavenly Emperor looked at Zana, who was so stubborn, and shook his head slowly, and then got up directly. The pale palm was suddenly filled with some ancient golden lines, and then those golden lines suddenly appeared on his palm. The center gathered, and in an instant, the void directly in front of the three formed a giant golden gate. This is the Holy Land Passage. It connects the location of the ancient Holy Land, and it will guide you. Looking at the golden giant gate, the Peerless Heavenly Emperor said, Master, thank you. Looking at the golden giant gate in front of him, Zana suddenly noticed that within the golden giant gate, something seemed to be calling the golden emperor Fen Tianyang within him, so he solemnly greeted the Peerless Heavenly Emperor. He bowed and smiled. Boom. With a sound, Zana's figure instantly disappeared into the golden giant gate, apparently heading towards the Holy Land, and the time it takes to enter the Holy Land can't be said to take a year or 10 years, or even 100 years. Master, is this your plan? Seeing Zana pouring into the Holy Land without hesitation, Jiu Yuan, who was next to him, couldn't help but ask with a sour nose. Since Zana came to the ancient clan, the Peerless Emperor has been teaching her, and as Zana's senior sister, she can naturally discover the transcendental talent of this girl in cultivation, even if she is a little inferior, but such an excellent woman. The reason for her cultivation was just to find her lover. Xiaoqing, everything in the world love hurts the most. I did this because of difficulties, and you will understand in the future. As Zana entered the Holy Land and Jiu Qing's inquiry, the Peerless Heavenly Emperor also said deeply, Hope it. Jiu Qing also shook her head slowly. Obviously, although her strength is not bad, among the superpowers of the ancient clan, there is no right to change the decision of the high level, so she just whispered softly, thus disappeared here. Zana, although it is indeed within my calculations to let you go to find your lover or even the Son of Light, but everything is for your own good. I admit that I am not a good teacher. Although most of these things are for my own selfishness, but more, let you enter the Holy Land, but it belongs to your mission, you can't shirk. I hope what I do this time is correct. The Peerless Heavenly Emperor's eyes became deep, and a deep breath suddenly spread over this land. That breath turned out to be a forged knife of the level of a 5-star fighting immortal. Thunder Valley Master Du Tianhong is still tyrannical. Above Doyun continent, there is a rather mysterious place. This place is surrounded by darkness all day long. In the darkness, there is a powerful imprisoning force, and no one knows where this place is. In the space, on a bumpy terrain, dozens of strong people are like coma. Lying here, apart from steady breathing, there is no other symbol, but the breath in their bodies is the weakest, all of them. The full owner of the 5-star fighting immortal strength, and in this void, dark auras kept squirming, like guards patrolling one by one, completely guarding the place. In an instant, a dark aura suddenly emerged from a certain void, but on the surface of this black aura, there were actually pink flames beating. These flames, like elves, were extremely terrifying. How's it going? After scanning the dozens of people who showed no signs of waking up, the black shadow of pink flames said at that time. After the palace master suppressed them, he ordered us to monitor them day and night. Besides that, the power of our soul palace on the Shenling continent seems to have disappeared. The 2 fighting immortals that I sent before also disappeared. With the arrival of the pink flame figure, in this space, countless black chi stopped squirming and came to him one after another, standing side by side, forming dozens of shadows, one of them said. Oh! On the Shenling continent, the strongest person is only 1 or 2-star Dozian, who can destroy all the branches of our soul palace. The black clothes wrapped in pink flames let out a thought and wondered. My subordinates are also wondering about this. But now in order to suppress the strong men of the ancients, we can't do without manpower on time, so this is the only way. He Ying continued. Forget it, I'll go take a look, you stay here. In a while, there will be strong people coming, these guys from the ancient clan, but for the gift prepared by the adult. The power of so many strong men is enough for that adult to get what he wants. After the pink figure finished speaking, he disappeared directly here. He was extremely puzzled about this place. He was as powerful as the patriarch of the ancient clan, but he was also suppressed and sealed. Too lazy to care. The strength of that lord just now is really unfathomable. With the disappearance of the pink figure, dozens of black auras couldn't help but tremble. Their auras were all fighting immortals, but in pink under the shadow, it is like an ant. What the is this temple doing? And as the pink shadow disappeared, a middle-aged man in the comatose crowd also muttered slowly. Apparently he had been awake for a long time, but he just kept pretending just to be in a coma. If the peerless heavenly emperor was here, he would recognize the whispering figure, and he was the patriarch of the ancient clan today, Jiu Yuan. Jiu Yuan's strength, according to some people, reached the ranks of the 6-star Yan thousands of years ago, and even in the entire human world, the reputation of the ancient patriarch Jiu Yuan is well known, but his specific strength, but no one knows. Forget it, it's time for this scene to end. In an instant, Jiu Yuan's comatose figure stood up from the ground, and a touch of indifference appeared in his pupils. How can it be? The patriarch of the ancient clan has awakened. Send a rescue signal. When he noticed that Jiu Yuan's body was standing upright and his pupils opened, a deafening sound suddenly emerged from dozens of black chi in the void. Oh! 6th grade immortal weapon, immortal lock. The body just stood up, and Jiu Yuan suddenly found that on his body, a black shackle, accompanied by a dark rune, suppressed his power, and suddenly smiled. Bang bang bang! The contemptuous laughter like a demon echoed just now, and the immortal bundle that was tyrannical enough to seal the tyrannical 6-star fighting fairy was easily broken and turned into powder. Not good, run! But seeing this scene, dozens of other black chi were shocked, and a wave of fear emerged in their hearts. Among their dozens of powerhouses, many of them are 4-star fighting immortals, but in front of Jiu Yuan, they are like ants, killing them at will. What is the purpose of arresting us? Jiu Yuan waved his hand, and suddenly dozens of black chi were directly held in his hand, and he immediately asked, Jiu Yuan, you have to die. Several of them chose to be indifferent, but there was still a black and violent way. With a sound, the black air that was originally opened was suddenly pinched by it, and even the power of the soul was instantly annihilated. The plan of the Hall Master of the Soul Palace, right? Where is she? The next moment, Jiu Yuan said to himself. Dream. Facing Jiu Yuan's inquiry, these black chi showed no signs of revealing, and had to be completely obliterated by Jiu Yuan one after another. Oh, it's such a vicious soul curse. No wonder no one said it. After a while, after erasing all the black energy, in the void, a green aura, with extremely evil fluctuations, suddenly explode. This soul clan is so slanted on the Dochi continent. Now that it has reached the Great Thousand World, it still does not change its nature. Jiu Yuan shook the green aura at will, and shook his head suddenly, obviously guarding their dozens of people. Human beings are also souls. Patriarch, where are we? I remember that our high-level group entered the space passage to a stronghold in the Soul Palace. How could this be? Suddenly, with Jiu Yuan's own power, after all the black energy was wiped out, the ancient group of high-level leaders below also slowly wake. It is true that these powerhouses found a stronghold in the Soul Palace based on the information, so they dispatched a large number of people to try to find out, but unexpectedly, in the stronghold, the Lord of the Huadian Palace happened to appear, so they were used by him. And, even if it is as strong as the patriarch of the ancient clan, it is also their way. It's alright, just part of my plan. Go back to the ancient clan, but remember, your whereabouts must not be discovered by the other 6 clans or our ancient clan insiders. Now the relationship between our ancient 7 clans is also dire, and even within our ancient clan, the struggle is even more uninterrupted. This time, let's solve these things completely. Jiu Yuan looked at it with his eyes. In the sky, he murmured. Patriarch, aren't you going back? A senior executive below couldn't help but said. Go back. We were plotted by the master of the Soul Palace, and I haven't asked her to calculate this account. Jiu Yuan said, his body shook suddenly, and then disappeared directly here. Apparently, it was possible to silently suppress the senior officials of the ancient clan, and even Jiu Yuan, except for the Soul Clan Patriarch and the Hall Master of the Soul Palace, who were so fascinated, there was no one else in this world. The power of the Patriarch is becoming more and more splendid. The high-level people below looked at each other, and then also flickered, and returned to the ancient clan from the secret passage, but the ancient clan was unknown. At the same time, the situation in Doyun continent became more and more turbulent. Dodi continent. Legend has it that outside the Do Di Sifang continent, there is a rather mysterious void. This void floats in the turbulent flow of space all the year round, and its position changes. Also dare not enter rashly. And in this void, there are many rumors, such as the place cursed by the gods, the place of evil light and so on. However, in this world, danger and opportunity coexist. Although this space has been rumored to be buzzing, there are also many benefits inside it. However, the location is too mysterious and dangerous, and no creature has ever set foot there. Humans call this space the realm of nothingness. And in the realm of nothingness at this time, a figure Xiao Yan was familiar with suddenly appeared. Crash! A deafening voice sounded, and a behemoth suddenly shattered the void and fell into the void realm. The huge creature, like a dragon, has an indescribably huge body. At this time, it was entrenched in the void, and the icy aura slowly permeated, and even above the body, strands of purple-gold dragon scales completely wrapped its body, like cold iron that has not been touched in 10,000 years. Suddenly, strange breaths emerged in this space, and then those breaths turned into traces of strange energy, heading towards the behemoth's body. That bizarre energy, the brilliance contained in it, has as many as 7 colors, which is extremely rare. What is this place? After a while, the dragon eyes flickered in the behemoth, staring at the surroundings and muttering. It vaguely remembered that it was attacked by the enemy in the space passage, and separated from Xiao Yang and the others, but after separation, with the help of the power of the Taishu ancient dragon proficient in space, he wanted to enter the space passage again to find Xiao Yang, but was directly involved in the spatial turbulence. Even this guy has been floating in the turbulent flow of space for a long time before he came to this mysterious space by chance. After a while, the dragon body of the behemoth transformed into the appearance of a middle-aged man. After this mysterious guy turned into a human, his true identity was immediately revealed. This guy is impressively Zhukun, who was scattered from the Doqi continent to the Do Emperor continent together with Xiao Yang, the old dragon emperor of the Taishu ancient dragon clan on the Doqi continent. Zhukun. I don't know what happened to Xiao Yang and the others. Forget it, let's see where this place is first. After hesitating for a moment, Zhukun stepped on the void and suspended above this mysterious void. Even with his eyes, he couldn't give the whole picture of the void here for a while. From the bottom of the eye, it is enough to see the vastness of this void. At this moment, Zhukun also felt a chill emerge. Even with his thousands of years of cultivation experience, the mystery in this void could not be comprehended. Bang bang bang. After a while, the place where he stood in the void turned into a crystal palace. The crystal palace is like a dream, with clear gold and silver, and 7-color energy crystals appear in an endless stream, wrapping the entire palace inside and out like a spiral, and the position of the candle is just at the entrance of the spiral crystal palace. What is this place? Zhukun smiled helplessly, relying on his intuition. He could sense that the space here is definitely not simple. Just a trace of energy in this void is enough to make him quite embarrassed, even more so. Needless to say, this sudden appearance of the crystal palace. What place is this? You don't know? Just when Zhukun looked puzzled, a delicate voice sounded slowly, filled with these rare hostility. Boom. A female voice like a silver bell emerged from the spiral structure of the crystal palace, and it suddenly became extremely harsh. In an instant, Zhukun only felt his legs soften, and knelt directly on the ground at the entrance of the crystal palace. On the ground of the crystal palace, layers of 7-color energy kept squirming. Pressure. This sense of oppression is different from the past, and even comes from the coercion in the depths of the soul, so that Zhukun has no room for resistance. Dragon family. The real dragon clan. And when he knelt down directly, Zhukun's old face was instantly pale, his eyes narrowed, and he murmured while staring at the depths of the crystal palace. On the Doqi continent, there is no real dragon and phoenix. Although their Taishu ancient dragons have dragon blood, the power of the blood is much diluted compared to the real dragon. And it is precisely because Zhukun is aware of this that he is eager to break through the Doqi continent and come here. As for the situation in front of him, Zhukun understands that the mysterious guy at the moment is probably also a real powerhouse in the dragon race. Junior rashly disturbs the senior's rest, and I hope that the senior will forgive me. I'm leaving now. Zhukun knelt on his knees, then clenched his fists and apologized to the depths of the palace. Right now this place is extremely mysterious, and the guy below has such a tyrannical coercion just by the slightest sound. I am afraid that the body strength is much more tyrannical than Zhukun. No one has set foot here for countless years. Although you are not a human, but a subdragon, to me, it is no different from an ant. The magnetic voice opened his mouth, with a hint of arrogance. Damn. Taking advantage of the moment when the voice spoke, Zhukun tried to use his grudge to break free, but helplessly Zhukun found that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break free. Don't bother, stay with me. After a while, the magnetic voice spoke up. Wang Om. At the same time, in the depths of the palace, a 7-color energy suddenly emerged, and then drove directly in front of Zhukun. Bastard. Seeing this, Zhukun's do qi surged to the limit, even his veins burst out, but he still couldn't break free. Even in the 7-color energy in front of him, there is a supreme dragon might that shakes the world, making Zhukun unable to resist surrendering without any resistance. Crash. The 7-color energy directly enveloped Zhukun's body, and then read Zhukun's memory. Being so entangled in the 7-color light, Zhukun couldn't help screaming, but nothing happened except that his memory was read by this mysterious person. Do-Chi Continent. Great Void Ancient Dragon? In just a few minutes, the deep magnetic voice exclaimed. A male Yalong, a pity. However, you seem to have an offspring on the Do-Chi Continent, and you are also a gifted little girl. It seems to be called Zi Yang. It seems that this time, God really blesses this king. The magnetic voice suddenly laughed. Who are you? What do you want? After a while Zhukun's restraint and 7-color energy dissipated instantly, and he returned to normal. Come here. First wait for your strength to break through Dozian, then I will naturally take action to bring Zi Yang over. When the time comes, I pour out my life's efforts, and there will definitely be a real dragon god. Golden Dragon King, the last hatred, I will definitely get it back this time. The magnetic voice spoke slowly, then directly controlled Zhukun, heading towards the depths of the palace. In an instant, the crystal palace regained its appearance of nothingness and emptiness, and the crystal palace disappeared. But obviously, the most mysterious in this world of nothingness is probably the one with dragon blood in the crystal palace. The true overlord. Zhukun was so captured by this great master, and he didn't know whether it was a blessing or a curse. This video will end here.